Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Welcome, everyone, and welcome everyone streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify, wherever you guys get your streaming from. I'm in a lot of places. Welcome. Hey, Frankie, welcome. I see you are number 1 today. Welcome, Jonah Morning Podcast. You're a new person. Welcome. Brina, you're number 3 today. Welcome. Blunt Ninja. Welcome. I hope everyone is doing well. Hey, Minnesota, welcome. Herbalists, welcome. Just gonna listen and groove onto the music for a little bit. Okay, so we're going to stop the music there and I'm going to get started. So I know y'all, yesterday I had a really heavy show. Sorry about that. But today I want to talk about, well, I know my title may be a little bit misleading, but in a world filled with kind gestures, how do you weed out all the BS? How do you weed out all of the crap? How do you know when someone is truly being kind to you, or if they're just, they're just saying something? It's just something that you just do. Last week or the week before, we were talking about, when people say, hi, how are you? Or you say hi, you automatically say, how are you? Is that something that is just automatic? Or again, how do you know people are really being kind to you? How do you know that people really mean what they say? And I don't mean, I want to take it a little further than just saying, hi, how are you? I'm saying, how do you know if people are genuine? That they truly, when they say, I hope you feel better. If you've been sick and someone says, I hope you feel better. Is this something that they really mean? Or is it in the category of, hi, how are you? But again, do you really care how they are? Or do you really hope they feel better? Is it just a gesture? When people say, if you need anything, let me know. Do you really mean that? Do you really mean that if someone, was, you know, if they lost a loved one or they've been sick or if anything happened to them, and do you really mean it when you say, if you need something, let me know, or if I can do anything? Because I find myself, and I'm being completely honest. I'm being totally honest. When I go to a funeral, um, I find myself not saying, if you need anything, if they're not someone close to me where I truly mean it. Because I hear people, last year I was at a funeral, and I was just listening to what people were saying. Welcome, crazy lady. I was listening to what people were saying. If you need anything, if you need anything. And I was thinking back to when my father passed away. And my sister and I, before the wake, we were talking about it. And I was talking about, when you go to a funeral, you don't want to be you don't want to be in the front row. That's not where you want to be. And I said, I bet you, and this may seem like, wow, you're actually thinking about this at your father's funeral, but these are things that go through my mind. And I said, I bet we're going to have a lot of people who are going to say those empty words. And I know it's because a lot of times you don't know what to say, but when we were at the funeral, and after the pastor says, or the reverend, whomever you have, bishop, whatever you want to call them, after they say their thing, and then you go and you view the body for the last time, and you have people coming past us, shaking our hand, you know um saying, I'm sorry, and they just kept going down the row. And if there's anything that I can do, and I'm looking at these people, and it's like some of these people I had never even seen. I mean, I didn't even know, and I know they were, friends of my dad's, friends of my mother's, whatever. But I'm literally thinking to myself, I would never ask you, and you probably know that I would never ask. So why do people say things like that? So I hope I'm not losing anyone. Well, welcome Grit, and welcome Juju. Um, so, you know, again, in a world full of kind gestures, how do you weed out the crap? And I'm not saying that what they're saying is crap, but I'm saying that when people come to you and I'm not even, let's take away the whole funeral thing or whatever. But when people come to you and they say things to you, do they really mean them? Because I am someone who means what I say. If I say I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I say I hope you have a nice day, I truly hope you do have a nice day. Um, at the beginning of my show, when I say I hope everyone's having a wonderful day, I truly do hope everyone's having a wonderful day, because I don't think anybody should ever have a day that sucks. However, if there were someone that I didn't like, I would not say, I hope you have a wonderful day, because I wouldn't care. But there are people who say things and they don't mean them. Or if you say things and you do them, or you follow through, they're surprised that you do. So that's where I want to leave it. I'm going to look at some of the comments here. Let me go back. Everyone's saying hello, hello, hello. Thank you for liking the show, everyone. I do believe it. I'm sorry, I do appreciate it. Okay. Blunt says, okay, let me go back. Herbalist says, probably depends on how long or how well you know them. Okay. Blunt Ninja says, I mean it when I say that. Brina says, sometimes it's the tone, I guess. It could be taken as condescending. That is true, Brina. Tone matters. Yes, it is. Rena says, it's tough when someone passes away, though. You can offer anything, but all they really want is their loved one back. I think they're just being there to listen helps. Yes, being there, to listen helps. So Brina, should we, if we're in a situation where it's a funeral or you're at a hospital and someone, was injured or something, should we just be there to listen and not necessarily say anything? Um, let's see. Crazy Lady says, I sometimes say, if I can be of any assistance, you feel free to reach out. Okay, and Crazy Lady, I also wanted to talk about that. You bring up a good point. Do as you say and say what you mean. And Brina says, yeah, definitely just being present physically helps some people. Okay, so Crazy Lady, when you say, if you feel, if I can be of assistance to reach out, when people say that, um, I guess it's almost as if you're putting it back on them. Like, right, if especially um if they've gone through someone passing, or something in their family, whatever, it's like you're putting it back on them to reach out to you. So instead of saying, if you need any assistance, feel free to reach out, some people may not feel comfortable doing that. Some people, should you be the one to go back to them and say, hey, I have some free time, you know, what do you need me to do? Um, I can do this for you. Here's this, whatever, instead of putting it back on them. Does that make sense? Crazy Lady?
Yes, it does. But usually when I actually say that stuff like to someone, I usually do a follow up on them anyway. I'll pop in and say, hey, just checking in on you, seeing how things are going, see if you needed any help with anything. You know, I was raised, if you say it, better better mean it, you know. And if you say you're going to do something, do it, because possessions come and go, money comes and goes, but who you are as a person, your character will stay with you for always, you know. And um, to me, um, if I take pride, and I give other people bonus points if they actually do what they say they're going to do and follow through. They get extra points in my book because it's very rarely that people follow through with what they say.
But why do you think that is? Crucible made a comment to me. We were talking one night, and he said, you're the only person that I know that when you say that you're not going to do something, you don't do it. Or when you say that you're going to do it, that you actually mean it. He says, I didn't think that you were actually going to do it. I'm like, why am I going to say I'm going to do something or not do something and I don't do it? And he says, because a lot of people don't, and we were talking about that. So it's like, a lot of people say a lot of kind things, but do you really mean it? Because for me, and this is just my personality, and I've always been like this. If you don't mean something, even if you're trying to be nice, if you don't mean it, I truly don't want to hear it. I want to be around and listen to sincere people. And even if you're telling me something you don't like about me or whatever, I mean, just like when we were talking about a couple of months ago, do you tell someone that they look good in those jeans, or that dress doesn't look right on you? I mean, it's like, are we so busy trying to be kind to people that we're doing them a disservice? And it comes to the point where you're looking around saying, well, they're full of crap. Well, do they really mean that? Are they full of crap? So Crazy Lady, I mean, do you think I'm taking it too far? Or, I mean,
No, I don't. Actually, I'm sure people have heard me say this. Never lower your standards. For when you lower one's standards, you lower yourself. End of story.
I mean, you know what? And I like that. I mean, Let's see. Blunt says, if it's a close friend or family member, I always follow up and ask what I can do. Brina says, that's true. Some people can feel like a bother. So I think it's a good to follow up. And Grid, I will check out the email. Okay. So Ninja, I want to ask this. You say if it's a close friend or family member, so would you make the same comment to someone who was just an acquaintance? You know, maybe you were going to a funeral or something. I'm just using funeral as an example because it's the best example that I can use. If you were just, you know, going to a funeral of a coworker or a neighbor down the street or a friend of a friend, someone that you've met, you know, a couple of times, but you weren't really friends with them, but you met them, you know, they passed away, would you still say the same thing to their family? You know, because um, you know, I mean, even when people are at a funeral, and again, this is when I'm sitting, you know, at my dad's, and people were coming by saying, you know, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your loss. And they literally started with my uncle, who was sitting next to my mom, and then well, they started with my mom, and then my uncle, then it was my sister, you know, and then my brother-in-law, and then me, and then a close you know, friend of the family. And it's like I was just watching people saying, I'm sorry for your loss, I'm sorry for, I mean, they would shake our hand, I'm sorry for your loss, I'm sorry for your loss, I'm sorry for your loss. And it's like, are you really, or are you just saying that? I mean, I'm sure they were, but then again, when family members came up, like when the cousins and things like that, and they were, you can see it in their face, you can hear it in their voice that they truly were sorry for your loss. So Blunt, you know, I come back and say, would you say that to someone other than that, that's not a close friend or a family member? And since Crazy Lady is up here, I'm going to ask you. I mean, do you get what I'm saying about the I'm sorry for your
Yeah,
loss, Grid?
I get what you're saying, and I personally, I don't, I try not to say empty words out there, you know, because yeah, I try not to, you know. If I knew the person, you know, I'll say, you know, I don't know, it depends on who it was, but I just don't like, you know, say, you know, I'm sorry for your loss, you know, because like, especially if I don't even know, like, say if I went to your dad's funeral, I knew him, like, I don't know, maybe he touched me because he donated time at the animal shelter that I ran or something, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I wouldn't say, I'm sorry for your loss. I probably, you know, if I really respect and say, you know, I would tell you, you know, I really respected your father and I will feel his loss, you know,
And you,
something like that, you know.
well, you know, and you make a good point, because I have gone to funerals where, like I said, it was an acquaintance or whatever, and you do want to pay, you know, you do want to get up and pay the respects to the family. And if I, you know, I have said, you know, I only, you know, met your daughter or whomever in passing, you know, and you know, they seem like a really nice person, you know, or something like that, you know, but you know, I don't know. I just find that just from day to day, when you see people and you pass them in the street or whatever, it's like we are so used to just saying, so many things just come out of our mouths that are automatic. Do we ever really take time to really think about what we're saying, who we're saying them to, and do we really mean it? Hey, GP man, welcome, and Power Girl, formal welcome to you. So let's see. Juju says Cape Verdeens. Am I saying that correctly? Juju, hug each other. I say, please accept my deepest sympathy. Okay. All right. So, um, has anyone ever said anything to you where you knew that it wasn't genuine? You know, because You know, I mean, because I have a friend. I don't even know if they're a friend. I think they're more of an acquaintance. That every time I run into her, um, she'll say hi to me, and she goes, "Yeah, I hope everything is going well with you." And before I can even say anything, she just starts talking about everything that's going on with her, and I'm just looking at her like, "Well, I know you just didn't mean you hope everything's going well with me. I just know you didn't mean it." So, I mean, stuff like that. So, let's see. Am I at the end? I am at the end. So, crazy lady, I'm gonna come back to you. So, do you know what I mean when you run into people like that, and it's like, oh, crazy lady, how are you? Oh, and by the way, did you know that I just did this yesterday? Or did you see that movie last night? It's like, do you really want to know how I am? Are you gonna let me answer?
If I ask you, yeah, I'm gonna let you answer. But
But I mean, but you know what I'm talking about when I say you have
oh
some people.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
know
why do you?
exactly those people.
Okay, so why do people do that?
Maybe out of form of manners, out of politeness,
But it's not polite if you're not
being
gonna.
cordial.
But if you're
Well,
not gonna wait until the answer, then it's not cordial and it's not being polite, right?
well, hey, I got to give them brownie points for at least trying. Okay. Remember, failure is a successful attempt.
So you think every failure is a successful attempt, crazy lady?
Yes, I do. That's my philosophy.
Okay, y'all, I got to put it out there. Do y'all agree with crazy lady? Do you all think that every failure is a successful attempt? And Brittany says, yeah, some people sound robotic. Once said, after my grandmother died, a month after my grandfather, my boss told me I have a life too. Wow. Seriously? Juju saying, amen. Okay, so did you say something to make them say that? Or he was just like, so I don't care. So what? I mean, what would have prompted him to say that? Wow. You requested time off. Okay, so you're requesting time off and his having a life. What does that have to do with the job? I mean, that is just beyond insensitive. I mean, uh, I don't know what to say to that one. I mean,
I'd have been that smart ass and lost my job and said, yeah, well, check it out. This day, you're not going to have a life because I'm going to a funeral.
I mean, I'm not understanding when he says I have a life too. I mean, it's like, okay, am I interfering in your life because I'm asking for time off to go to a funeral? I mean, it's like he made it personal. I mean, as opposed to saying something like, well, we really need you here, or I mean, I don't know, something. But to say I have a life too, for what Blunt was requesting the time off for, to me that comment just made it personal.
Yeah, he just took it personal because, I don't know, he's unhappy.
And Blunt says that's exactly what he meant. I mean, that's just crazy. That is just crazy. You know, um, I have someone who works for me who they have asked for multiple times off because uh, they have some issues, and I have told them, and I meant that take the time that you need, uh, because she's one of the best people who have ever worked for me. I don't want to lose her. She's not taking advantage. I understand the things that she's going through, but I want her to take the time that she needs so she can be on her best game when she comes to work. And I truly mean it. And I just think that I just think that people should pretty much say what they mean. Um, because then you get into situations where people start to assume, well, I assume that since you said that it was okay for me to, you know, go here, or I thought it was okay for me to bring my boyfriend to dinner, or it was okay for me to do this. People start to assume. And that's one thing that I never want when I do things or say things. I never want anyone to assume. I want people to know exactly what I mean, where I'm coming from, so there's no question. Um, and again, if I'm going to be kind to someone, I truly am being kind to that person. If I don't want to say something or do something, whatever, or say that kind word, that everyone is saying, I'm not going to do it. Needless to say, I'm no longer employed there. Okay, so I take it you quit, as opposed to him letting you go. I mean, that's just crazy. Was this a small company, or was it a large company? Was it a family-owned business, something like that? Because that's just crazy. That's just crazy. So, guys, what do you think about? Do you think there's a difference with being kind so you don't hurt someone's feelings? Um, but at the same time, can that hurt someone's feelings in the end? Because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. In the end, can it hurt someone's feelings because you're saying a kind word, or you're trying to be nice, but in the end, can it backfire? Anybody? And thank you everyone for liking the show. So, Crazy Lady, I'm gonna come back to you since you're the only one up here. Do you think that being kind your kind gesture to not hurt someone's feelings, in the end, it can backfire? It actually does do them harm, you know.
Um, I don't know. It seems like when I've ever not been not truthful, it's always like bit me in karma. She knows me really well, and she's fast to react on me.
Okay.
So, sometimes like I won't answer, you know. But yeah, if you're gonna ask me, hey, does this look good on me? And it really doesn't, I'm gonna be that person. Say, yeah, you may want to rethink that whole look, you know.
So, do you think that, does it matter if you're like, okay, Rena says, yeah, I think being kind when you don't mean it can backfire. Is better to be real. And Gigi says, I took care of my aunt for 5 years, and I was the person that was burying her. My job told me I could not take the day of the funeral off. I said, watch me. They finally came to a conclusion where they would not pay me for the day. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, I don't understand why jobs, and they wonder why people are not going back to work. They wonder why people quit their jobs, and they don't want to do certain things. But, and crazily, I'm gonna put you on the spot again with this question, because again, you're up here. Um, do you think that we should that there's a difference between being kind to a child as opposed to an adult, when you don't mean it, when it's something that, again, it could backfire?
Well, children, I mean, you don't want to, like, go around kicking, every kid's rainbows around, but like, if you're going to tell a child you're going to do something, like, hey, like, we'll go to the park next week, you need to follow through that stuff. Not just say it right at the moment, because it takes away a tear or whatever. Because when you make empty promises like that to kids, it does kind of do them harm in the long end. So Yeah, it all depends on the situation, I guess.
Okay, and then Brina says it's hard to be mean to kids, but are you being mean? Okay, crazy lady, because you made a good point when you say, you know, they're upset, you know, they're crying, whatever, and you say something so they'll stop crying. You know, it's like, to me, is you are being mean to them if you know doggone well that you have no intention of going to the park, the amusement park, going, you know, down the street or whatever. You have no intention of doing that. So is it better just to, you know, be it a child or an adult, just let them cry, just let them go through whatever, because you have no intention of, you know, or even if they came to you and said, what if a kid came to you and they were really upset and they were like, you know, I want you to take me such and such. Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? And you don't want to, you have no intention of doing it. Um, you know, you know, and I'm not saying it's your child. I'm just saying just period. Is that being mean, telling them no, that you're not going to do, or you can't do it? Or is it, you know, wrong for you to give this empty promise? Because adults do have a habit, parents too, have a habit of, some, not all parents, but some have a habit of giving their children empty promises. You know, teachers, school, you know, whatever. You know, people have a habit of telling children things and you don't mean it. Next thing you know, the kid's showing up at your door next Tuesday when you say, oh, next Tuesday we're going to go such and such, and they're showing up at your door. You're like, what are you doing here? So is that okay? And then for an adult, you know, if it's in a situation where it's someone of the opposite sex or nowadays of the same sex, you know, if you're nice to someone, could they misinterpret that as you like them, you're leading them on, and then when what they uh, uh you know have in their mind is going on doesn't happen, then they get upset? I mean, where do you draw the line? Crazy late. Okay, no problem. So you know, where do you draw the line of being kind when it can backfire? Anybody? Anybody? Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so I am going to tell you guys. Hold on one second. Let me bring it up. I'm gonna try to cut and paste here. Hold on. Give me one moment. I apologize for the delay. Okay, it's not letting me. I wanted to cut and paste this quote, and it's not letting me. Okay, so do you guys think that? Oh, hold on now. My computer's jumping all over the place. Give me a moment here. Okay, so doctors. Let's talk about doctors. So let me read what Brina says first. Empty promises are not okay with kids. They never forget it if you promise to take them to the park, but being extra nice when they draw you a picture, but you really don't know what the hell it is. It's okay to me. I'm sorry, Brina. It's okay. It's okay. It builds confidence. I'm sorry, Brina. That just cracks me up because I can. Oh boy. Oh boy, that is so funny. Oh, you don't know what the hell it is. That is funny. That is true. That is true. That is so true. Jake left his monkey at grandma's. Oh, Jake. Jake is crazy lady's dog, just in case you guys know. And Dina Joe's laughing. Oh, the crazy lady says that's when you ask him to explain it. Okay, you thought they drew a cow, and it's actually you. I'm sorry, that's just cracking me up. I'm sorry, that blob is mommy. Oh, see, Brina, I'm sorry. I just think that is so funny. That is so. Oh, oh, that's beautiful. What is it? That's you, mommy. That's you. Oh, that's nice. I'm really beautiful. Oh, Dana Joe says, I think we have all been there. Yes, we have. All right, guys. So, oh, Rita, that's gonna be one of those things that when I'm driving in the car, I'm gonna think about what you said, and I'm just gonna start laughing. Oh boy. Uh, oh. Let's see. Crazy Lady says Alex drew my dad really, really big, and Grandma Becky was always a tiny little thing. Oh boy. All right. So guys, I want to ask about doctors. Should doctors have a bedside manner? I mean, I know, they should feel comfortable, make you feel comfortable and make you feel like, that they have your best interest at heart and they're not going to kill you or do you harm or anything. But, you have some doctors that are very blunt, so do you really need the sugar coating? Do you really need the doctor to come in and say, oh, well, this is what's going on and blah, blah, blah. Or or is it okay for some doctors to come in and say, well, this is it, blah, blah, blah. You need surgery and it's best we have to just schedule it for tomorrow morning and blah, 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 blah. Is there any family we need to call? Or do you need to go through the whole, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And then they work up to the surgery. I mean, I know it depends upon, depends upon the person. But should doctors be required? I mean, is it necessary for them to have a bedside manner? Okay, Crazy Lady says, give me the hard facts in layman's terms, please. Okay, and Brandon says, yes, doctors really should have a good bedside manner. Getting bad news will wreck your mind in some cases. Okay, but what if this doctor is really, 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 really good? And they just don't, it's just their personality. I mean, they were always that kid who was boom, boom, boom. Because honestly, I think I would have a bedside manner up to a certain point, and then it would be out the window. So I don't know if I would be, I mean, not saying I wouldn't be a good doctor, but I just have very little patience for the whole, oh, okay, blah, 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 blah. So is that something really necessary? Okay. And Brina says, I've noticed some nurses are really good with bedside manner, so even they're accompanied by a good nurse would help. Yes, that is true. Unless you have Nurse Hatchet, is it Nurse Hatchet, crazy lady? From One Flew Over the Ratchet, Nurse Ratchet. Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You don't want her. Okay. Brina says, in extreme cases where the news is fatal. Okay. Gina Joe says, I want to know the truth, but look me in the eyes. Most of the time you're going in there with an issue, but the patient needs to be willing to do the work, if that makes sense. Yes, it does. Yes. Hey, Shorty, welcome. Welcome. I'm sorry I didn't see you pop in. Welcome. So, I mean, so is it okay then? So, Dina Joe, is it okay then if you have a doctor who does not have a good bedside manner, and they are, telling you the facts, whatever, they're looking you in the eye, and they're not that warm and bubbly, doctor. Come on, Crazy Lady, I need you to help me again. I used to watch his show all the time with my mother. They are not Marcus. They are not Marcus Welby. Okay, they are not. So, you know, I, does that matter?
See me. I don't like it when doctors try to give you like false hope. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, just give me the cold hard facts. Don't sugarcoat that stuff because yeah, that's when people start assuming. You
Right,
know,
and that's a very good point. That's another thing with trying to be kind, those kind gestures, and you're giving them false hope. I mean, if you know that this is going to happen, and there's a 50-50 chance or 30% chance that I may not make it, or I don't want to hear. Well, I mean, that's when those kind gestures don't mean anything. So, do you think that um a doctor is wrong for giving false hope?
yes, because it's false. It's um yeah, it's just it's not good because then when the person isn't like progressing or whatever, then it opens up a whole new can of worms.
Okay. Now Dina Jones says I do not need bubbly, but a little bit of kindness goes a long way. But Dina Joe, what if that person can't give that little bit of kindness? What if that doctor or that nurse is just not capable of doing that? But they're a good doctor or they're a good nurse. I mean, does that matter? I mean, I know it matters in terms of your psyche, but um in the long run, in terms of your health and in terms of them repairing whatever needs to be repaired or fixed or whatever issue, whatever, um, doesn't matter. I think that
I had a therapist one time, and he was okay. Excuse my language. He was a dick, dude. Straight up. I hated his guts, but I appreciated him because he did give me the cold hard facts. Look, if you're just not going to do this, then why are we even here? I mean, he was rude. He pushed me, but I guess that's what I needed.
okay, all right. I mean, and that makes sense. Let's see. Dina Jones says that's a hard one because he is a professional, but I would never give up hope in my life with the doctor. If he was the best and an asshole, I would suck it up and go to him and get fixed. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that along the way, somebody has said, "Hey, Doctor Jones, you're really being a dick," as Crazy Lady says, or you're really, being a jerk or whatever. I do believe that they probably do hear that along the way, and I'm pretty sure that there are doctors who are not good doctors who are jerks, whatever. Um, and I do believe that there are a lot of good doctors who are very kind and whatever. But you know, how much? Again, I say, can a kind gesture backfire? Can kind gestures give you false hope? Um, let's go to a police officer. You know, um, Something horrible has happened. They're ringing your doorbell saying, you know, um, your child is missing. Do you want that person to give you false hope? Do you want them to say the right things that you want to hear or the things that you need to hear? I mean, because I believe there's a time and a place for everything, and for certain situations, there are things that people just need to hear. They may not be nice, it may not be sugar coated, nice and sweet, whatever, but there are things that you need to hear. And if you're being kind, I think you are doing people a disservice. So, is that wrong? Let's see. Dina Jones says sometimes it's just their personality, like you said, and nowadays Everyone is overworked. Yep. And then Brina says, no false hope. Nope, no false hope. Dina Joe says, agree. So, yeah, guys, I mean, in the course of a day, depending upon what type of job you have, you may be in a situation where you are in a situation where you say to yourself, well, do I tell them this or do I tell them that? You know, if you lost your child in a in a shopping mall, I mean, do they even have shopping malls anymore? If you lost your child in a grocery store, wherever, you know, are you that, and they come up to you, you're that officer, whatever, and you say, well, are you going to find them? Is he going to be okay? What do you say? I mean, I know they're trying to say, we're looking for him. We're doing all we can, whatever. But there will be that person who will say, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. I mean, even in situations not that are not that extreme, how many times do we say everything's going to be okay? Do you know everything's going to be okay? Because we don't. We don't know everything's going to be okay. Is that an empty gesture? Is that just a kind word? Or do you really believe that everything's going to be okay? And then when it's not, what do you do? Because this is real life. This is reality. Everything is not always okay. And I'm not talking about, if you lose a child or something like that. I'm just saying, if you're trying to bake a cake, and you're saying, okay, everything's not always going to be okay. I know for me, if I bake a cake, it's not going to be okay because I can't bake, but Crazy Lady says, no, sometimes a person, sometimes a person, are you saying needs to be cruel? Sometimes love can kill those that you love. Are you saying that they need to be cruel, Crazy Lady?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes, if you love someone, sometimes you have to be mean to them because, okay, good example, drug addicts. Okay, you may have a child or a brother or sister or mate or whatever, and you love them. You love them with all your heart and soul. And, it, but sometimes, you have to be that mean person that, is just mean and, points out like all the crappy faults and stuff because, sometimes, tough love. That's what the word I was looking for, tough love. Sometimes
Okay, but
you got to
is tough love
demonstrate.
and being cruel the same? When you're giving tough love, is that the same as being cruel?
Well, the person that's receiving the tough love may interpret it as cruel. And yeah, and maybe in a way it is cruel because, you don't want that person that, you love or cherish or whatever to ever, hear, whatever, you know, it's just, yeah.
Okay. All right. So is it Frankie, thank you very much for the gift. Hold on, Crazy Lady, because I want to ask you another question. Let me read what Brina says. Brina says, saying everything is going to be okay in that situation is only a kind gesture. Nobody knows the outcome of something like that. Okay, so let's talk about the drug addict for a moment. Is it cruel or tough love if you kick your kid out of the house because they're on drugs? Crazy Lady?
Um,
Because Brina
it's,
says
well, it's like,
that's tough
yeah,
love.
yeah, that's the tough love. I mean, my son, he wasn't on drugs, but he just wouldn't go get a job or anything. And I had to kick him out. Dude, that was the hardest thing I ever had to do was kick my child out of the house. I was like, no, check it out. You have to leave because you are unwilling to go get a job or do anything, and, you can't stay here.
So okay, so Dina Jones says that is setting boundaries and his tough love. So okay, so can you can you if you end up being kind and you allow that child or uncle or whomever to stay in your life, let's say they're not even in your house, but you because you're being kind because you don't want to be mean or anything, that kind gesture, um and you don't tell them to go somewhere, you don't tell them to go away, you don't tell them to get out, you don't tell them, don't come around me anymore until you've cleaned up, you continue to allow them back into your life over and over again. Is that going to backfire? Is that hurting them in the long run? Not only is it hurting you, but is it hurting them in the long run when you should have kicked them out or you should have said, leave me alone, don't come around me? Danny Jones says that's when the
Yep,
person
that's called
receiving.
enabling. That is called enabling, and you're not doing them a service at all because yeah, because oh, now they have like, yeah, oh, it doesn't matter what I do, I will always have a place to live. You know, I won't be out on the streets, or you know, so and so will always give me money. I can always get a 10 spot, or yeah, it hurts them in the long run. It really, really
Okay.
does.
Okay. So Danny Jones says that's when the person receiving might think it is cruel. So then, and Dina Joe agrees with you, crazy lady. So, okay. So crazy lady, then let me ask this. Let's say, and I'm sorry to keep putting you on the spot, but you're up here. So let's say you kick your child out of the house, or you told your friend, I don't want you to come around, until you're always drunk, you're always high, you're always this, you're always, something's always going on with you. When you come around, we get into trouble, you always bring some type of issue with you. And you told them just to get out of your life. They get out of your life, you kick them out of the house, you do whatever. Do you uh do you oh you kick them out of the house, whatever, and then they die? Let's say they kill themselves or they just die. Do you feel guilty? And should people put that guilt trip on you?
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't feel guilty because that it unless you like picked up the gun and pulled the trigger, or stuck the needle in their arm. You know, um, then no, you shouldn't feel guilty because that was their choice. Um, and yeah, maybe at the time, okay, my brother turned his back on me, um, and straight up told me, he said, no, I can't. He goes, don't call me, don't you know anything until you're done doing drugs, Stephanie. He goes, I can't. I don't know you like this. He goes, I don't want to know you, and me and this person don't get along. So no, and he meant it, and he didn't like when I was ready to become clean and stay clean. Then he came back in my life, you know. But at the time when he was saying those hurtful words to me, I was like, you know, it hurt me. I thought he was the meanest person in the world.
But in the long run,
I
you
understand now. Now I
okay.
understand why he did that, you know, because I was being more cruel to him by putting him by making him watch my downfall.
So should we ever, again, I'm asking the question, should we ever guilt trip someone because they're, because we do something and it ends up bad for the person that we did it to, if that makes sense? Like, should I feel guilty if someone asked to stay with me and I knew that they were bad news, or they were like, I really need some place to stay. I really need to for this, and this, and this, but it's like, nope, you burned me too many times. No. And then you find out that something bad happened to them. Is it, should people try to guilt trip you? Is it, you know, should you do that? Brina says, no, it's selfish to intentionally guilt trip.
Yep.
Um, you know,
Trying to lay your uh, negativity and bullshit on someone else's step. No, take ownership.
okay. All right. Now let me ask this last question. Does anybody watch Chicago Fire? Anybody? Let's
No,
see.
I
Dina
don't have
Jones.
TV.
Oh, okay. You have TV. All right. You sound like my son. Okay. No, you should not feel guilty. And I do not think it's our job to make someone feel guilty. No, I haven't. Okay. No. Okay. So that's one of my, that's one of the shows that I watch. I watch
We're so cruel.
the three Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD. But anyway, in it, one of the storylines was where one of the female lieutenants, she put together this program. It's been like this 2-year thing, ongoing story where she does this thing called Girls on Fire, where she has these high school girls, trying to get interested in the fire department to become firefighters. And it's to get a lot of the kids off the street and get them to do things. And one of the girls that she had been working with, she went through the fire department, whatever, and she became a firefighter. And the mother said, the lieutenant went to the graduation ceremony, and the mother of the girl came over to her and said, if anything happens to my daughter, I blame you, because she never would have done this if she had not seen the flyer that you put out. You put those flyers up. So if anything happens to my daughter, I blame you. And the lieutenant was looking at her like, seriously? And the mother walked away, and she went and stood there with her daughter taking photos and whatever. I mean, is that fair? Is that fair to say, I blame you? And when she said that, I was just thinking, so if you were in an accident and you needed a firefighter or an EMT or anyone to come and help you, it's okay for someone else to put their life on the line, but your family can't, your daughter can't. So I look at it as the mother being selfish. How are you going to guilt trip someone? So does that mean that if every parent felt that, any parent who has a child in law enforcement, fire department, EMT, whatever, where someone is putting their security guard, even if you're at the security guard at the dollar store, whatever, where you're putting your life on the line, if every parent said, I don't want my kid to do it, we wouldn't have anybody doing anything. And Brina says, that's silly. How could that person control who sees the flyer? But I mean, and I understand what you're saying, but I mean, it was like, if it weren't for you, my daughter would not have done this. But she may not have done that, but maybe she would have done something else that was even worse, because this lieutenant got this girl off the street. So basically, I was just asking that because that just popped into my head, and just in terms of guilt tripping and things like that. So but anyway, guys, I said I was going to keep my show to an hour. I am trying my best to do that. So I am going to leave you guys with another song. And Crazy Lady, thank you for coming up with me today.
Good
I
discussion.
do
Good
appreciate it.
discussion.
And I am actually going to reach out to you because I have a question for you, but I will talk to you.
I might have an answer.
The answer will either be yes or no, because this is a yes or no question. So thank you,
Okay.
Brina. Okay. I'm going to leave you guys with, let's see. Did you all like that jazz? Are you all into jazz? Because I'm trying to leave you guys with different stuff. And Dina Jones says, great show. Thank you, Crazy Lady, for your honesty. And she sends you love. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with, okay, Brina says, I like the jazz. I'm going to leave you with Jazz Intimate 6. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. And Dina Joe, thanks for popping in. And I'm sorry I haven't been over to your show, but my mornings have been so busy. I haven't been on anyone's show. So, but I promise I will definitely return. So, and Juju, welcome back. So, everyone, this is Jazz Intimate. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. I truly do mean this when I say it. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. I want everyone to have good days and good evenings and good nights. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, Juju, thank you.
My hands are busy.
You want me to mute you?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
See, was that bad? That wasn't bad, was it? Oh, Sister Sabla, I got a video to send you of Jake is scared of Mom's kitten.
Okay. And that's it, guys. That was Jazz Intimate Six. Intimate Six. So I hope to see you tomorrow and enjoy the rest of your day.